Wicked Little Letters, what can people expect when they watch it?
A good time, very funny.
Filthy
Timothy
language.
Spall is in it.
This wonderful Danny Bazan in it as well. You know, she's not a force
a-
to be reckoned with.
It's a good cast. It's very funny. I think it's got something to say underneath it all as well.
And one of the things that really struck me is that we don't often see period dramas which are kind of being so playful, obviously with this many expletives in either.
Yeah.
When you first read that script, what really jumped out to you?
Just the absurdity and the irreverence of it, I loved so much. I felt like it was being true to the time, but also being very playful with that time period, so that it felt also very relatable to a modern audience, where you think you're seeing this very quaint historical period piece, and it's not. It's actually a little bit more interesting than that.
Well, exactly that reason what you're getting is a display of the language is the steam of hypocrisy really coming out of all of this underlying repression and structured structure of a society that's about to change very quickly. I mean, the reality that the language is being fed by somebody without giving it away, who themselves is very much an example of the victim of a kind of societal constraint, is exposed later. But that's what makes it, I think, even more interesting, is that language is a product of somebody else's problem as well. It also illustrates a kind of constriction in society.
And coming to your two characters, Police Officer Moss, what a brilliant role to play. And, all this kind of exchanges you have with the other male police officers and also with a group of women. What did you like about playing her?
Just, she gets to be a detective, and she gets to be like, I'll do it myself. I'll figure out what's going on, And I think it's fun playing characters that people underestimate, because you get to surprise them, and I think she surprises the other characters in the story, and I think she surprises the audience. And it was just very fun to play, and I felt that Johnny made her feel very real, and she feels like she has elements of both Edith and Rose within her, and that was very fun to play as well.
And of course, we can't really understand Edith without understanding her father and her relationship with her father. And in amongst kind of what is, quite a playful film, I think your character's perhaps got more of like a sinister streak. How did you find playing him in that sense?
He's sinister. I think he's just deeply unhappy, actually. He's deeply unhappy, and he's angry and vulnerable, totally in denial about what's wrong with him. And it all manifests as somebody who, as a disciplinarian. I find that very interesting in him. I found him to be all of the above, as in vile, unpleasant, controlling. But I also sort of feel for him a bit, because he's a simple bloke that is unable to deal with the fact that he's lost two sons, that his daughter has grown up not how he wanted her to, that he's seeing a world changing in front of his very eyes. I'm old enough to remember this generation of old men who the world was shot. All of a sudden, they were these blokes, and all of a sudden they had 8 kids, and in charge, and they were having to try, and incapable. Sometimes they were supposed to be the leader, and they weren't really, and then so a lot of this kind of folds into a kind of, and they've never given themselves a chance for vulnerability.
And amazing cast across the board, but particularly right at the centre, Olivia and Jesse. Well, how did you find working with them, and how just kind of, they were able to sort of land these beats of the humour and the heart and the poignancy of, pointing out this sort of patriarchal kind of misogynistic environment that all of the women are in?
They're phenomenal actors. I think we know this, but they're also very beautiful human beings. And I think that they have a genuine love and care for each other, and they're friends. And I think that chemistry is what makes that relationship so fizzy and sparky and lovely on screen, that they can really go at each other, but also underneath there there's a connection. Maybe in another parallel world they would have been best friends, but society at the time and what it was, and they were both pulled in different directions, but I think that's what makes that relationship so special. It's just both of them as people and actors.
Totally agree. They're both brilliant actors and brilliant people. It's a great cast. It was nice to go in and be with all these really, sounds like some love fest, but it really is. It was good. It was really a nice job. Lovely job, actually.
Thank you so much for sharing all that with me. And just to let you know, everyone was laughing out loud all the way through the film in my screening.
relief.
So can't wait for everyone else to see it.